They say everything's bigger in Texas. But what if beauty is too? Out here, the land stretches farther than your eyes can chase it, from dusty plains to saltwater dreams. And somewhere between the cactus and the clouds, the skies come alive with color. Not man-made, not polished, just wild, untamed, and unapologetically Texan. Every dawn starts with a cardinal's flame-red flash. Every dusk ends with a dove's soft goodbye. Between them, 20 voices, 20 wings, 20 stories, painting the air over the Lone Star State. Some sing, some hunt, some dance. Some simply exist with the quiet pride of those who never needed permission to be beautiful. Because here, the wild doesn't ask for attention. It commands it. So maybe the real question isn't, does Texas have the most beautiful birds in America? Maybe it's this. If the sky's this stunning, how did we ever think the beauty of Texas stopped at the ground? You think dawn is quiet? Not in Texas. Because before the sun even rises, the northern cardinal is already awake, singing its fiery hymn to the day. That bright scarlet plumage doesn't just catch your eye, it burns against the morning light like a living ember. It's the bird you see on fences, on mailboxes, in backyards. Ordinary places made extraordinary by a flash of red. And somehow it always feels like the first spark of Texas sunrise. The male cardinal sings to claim his patch of world, clear whistles rising and falling, confident but never rushed. And when he finds a mate, that fire turns gentle. They feed each other beak to beak, small, careful gestures that feel almost human. Here's the twist. The female sings too. In most bird species, only the males do the talking, but not here. In Texas, even the ladies have something to say, often answering their partner from across the trees, their duet echoing through the heat. It's not just song, it's conversation. Fun fact, cardinals don't migrate. They stay put through the seasons, from the droughts of summer to the cool hush of winter. While other birds chase comfort, the cardinal stays loyal to its land, resilient, familiar, Texan. And maybe that's why people love it so fiercely. Because the northern cardinal isn't rare, it's reliable. It's the constant reminder that beauty doesn't need to travel far. It just needs to show up every morning and sing like it belongs. So here's the question. What would your world look like if you celebrated what's already yours, instead of always chasing something new? Because the northern cardinal doesn't search for paradise. It creates it, one sunrise at a time. And that flash of red across the Texas sky, that's not just a bird. That's the heart of the South reminding us that home can still take your breath away. You think hope has no color? Then you've never seen an eastern bluebird in a Texas morning. It's not just blue. It's sky turned feather, daylight with wings. When that soft turquoise chest glows against golden grass, it feels like the world exhaling peace. No thunder, no flash, no chaos. Just calm. For generations, the bluebird has been America's symbol of happiness, a sign that spring has returned and the land is forgiving us for winter. Farmers used to watch for them like old friends, believing their arrival meant the worst was over. And maybe deep down, that's still true. Here's the twist. The eastern bluebird is not a loner. It's a builder, a loyal one. It searches patiently for the perfect hollow tree or fence post, then lines it with grass and pine needles. A tiny home built for sunlight, and once it chooses a mate, it doesn't look back. Loyalty, not luxury, defines its love. Fun fact, bluebirds don't just live in wild woods. They thrive near people. Old fence posts, backyard boxes, even power lines become their stage. And when they perch and sing that soft, warbling note, they remind us that beauty doesn't vanish when nature meets civilization. It adapts. But even their happiness has challenges. In the 20th century, bluebird numbers crashed as invasive species took their nesting spots. So communities across Texas started putting up wooden nest boxes to bring them back. And it worked. Hope, it turns out, can be built by hand. Watch one glide over a Texas pasture at sunset, blue against gold, and you'll understand why poets never stop writing about them. Because joy doesn't always arrive loud or large. Sometimes it perches quietly, waits for you to notice, and sings like it's known you all along. So here's the question. If peace knocks softly on your window, would you hear it? Because the eastern bluebird doesn't shout. It just exists. Proof that gentleness, when it's honest, never needs volume. You think happiness is hard to find? Then follow the flash of yellow through a Texas meadow. You'll find it laughing in midair. The American goldfinch doesn't fly so much as bounce through the sky like a sunbeam that can't sit still. Bright lemon plumage, black-tipped wings, and that quick, joyful song. It's summer, turned alive. Even its flight has rhythm. Up, down, like the world's smallest roller coaster powered by pure joy. This little bird waits longer than almost any other to raise its young. Not in spring, but in late summer, when thistles bloom. Why? Because it uses their down to line its nest and feeds its chicks their seeds. The goldfinch doesn't rush life. It times it perfectly. Here's the twist. Unlike most songbirds, it's strictly vegetarian. No bugs, no worms, just seeds, buds, and flowers. It thrives entirely on sunlight's harvest. It's as if it decided long ago that peace tastes better than prey. Fun fact, when winter comes, that golden coat fades to olive brown. It's still there, still singing, just humble now, waiting patiently for spring's return. Even happiness needs a season of quiet. You'll spot them all across Texas, fluttering above wildflowers, dangling from thistle stalks, or decorating the fences of country fields. Their voices are light but contagious, weaving through the heat like laughter you can't quite forget. And maybe that's the real gift of the goldfinch. It doesn't chase joy, it is joy. It reminds us that the world doesn't owe us happiness. It offers it again and again if we're willing to look up and notice the color yellow. So here's the question. When was the last time you stopped to admire something small and let it change your whole mood? Because the American goldfinch doesn't need thunder or applause. It just dances through the fields, reminding Texas and the rest of us that sometimes the brightest things are also the quietest. You think size decides who gets heard? Tell that to the Carolina wren, the bird that sings like it's trying to wake up the whole neighborhood. Barely the size of a coffee mug, yet it belts out a tune so loud you'd swear it had a microphone hidden somewhere in the trees. Its song, tea kettle, tea kettle, tea kettle, rings across backyards, barns, and bayous, cheerful and defiant all at once. This bird doesn't whisper, it announces. Round, rust-colored, and full of energy, the Carolina wren is pure southern spirit. Always busy, always curious, poking into boots, mailboxes, garages, anywhere that looks interesting. If it fits, it investigates. If it echoes, it sings. Here's the twist. Wrens mate for life, and when one sings, the other answers. Their duets fill the air like laughter between old friends who know every punchline. Loyal, loud, and just a little nosy. That's Texas charm, feathered. Fun fact, Carolina wrens will build nests in almost anything. Flower pots, hats, even the pockets of coats left on porches. To them, home is wherever they can make it work. That's not messiness, that's optimism. But beneath all that confidence lies genius. They use over 30 different calls, each one for a different purpose. Warning, wooing, or just plain showing off. They're tiny strategists disguised as entertainers. You'll see them darting through the brush, tail flicking like punctuation marks in a story they never stop telling. Their energy doesn't fade with age or heat or noise. Because they don't wait for perfect moments, they create them. So here's the question. If this little bird can fill the Texas sky with joy, what's your excuse for staying quiet? Because the Carolina wren doesn't care about size or spotlight. It sings because it can. And maybe that's the lesson the Lone Star skies keep repeating. That courage doesn't have to be big. It just has to be loud enough to be heard. You think Texas pride wears a cowboy hat? Sometimes it just wears feathers. Meet the northern mockingbird, the loudmouth genius who turned mimicry into an art form. It doesn't just sing, it samples. Crickets, frogs, alarms, other birds, even car horns, all get remixed into its personal soundtrack. If nature had a playlist, the mockingbird would be the DJ. Perched high on a wire or fence post, it performs for anyone who'll listen. Bold, sharp, and endlessly creative. And it doesn't repeat itself once or twice. Oh no, a single mockingbird can master over 200 different sounds. That's not imitation, that's performance. Here's the twist. It doesn't sing just for fun. Each song declares territory, challenges rivals, or flirts shamelessly. It's confidence in stereo, fearless and unapologetically Texan. Fun fact, the northern mockingbird was chosen as the state bird of Texas back in 1927. Not for beauty, but for spirit. Lawmakers said it symbolized the courage of the human heart. And honestly, they nailed it. This bird doesn't back down. It'll chase off hawks, cats, even dogs twice its size, all while singing about it. And yet, when the world quiets down, there's something almost spiritual about its song. A nighttime mockingbird under a Texas moon doesn't sound proud or showy. It sounds eternal, like the land itself humming its memories. But here's the real secret. The mockingbird isn't mocking at all. It's listening. It hears everything and transforms it, turns noise into art, turns chaos into melody. That's not mimicry, that's genius. So here's the question. If everything you heard in life, the good, the bad, the ugly, could become music, would you sing it? Because the northern mockingbird does. It doesn't filter, it creates. It's the voice of Texas itself, loud, proud, and impossible to ignore. You think rainbows only belong in the sky? Then you've never seen one land on a fence post in Texas. The painted bunting looks like someone forgot the rules of color and decided to use all of them anyway. Electric blue head, fire red belly, green back, and touches of yellow like sunlight trapped in feathers. It's not camouflage, it's confidence. Every flight, every flicker says, why blend in when you were born to shine? Locals call it the most beautiful bird in North America, and for good reason. When one flashes across a meadow, even the wind seems to pause, because beauty like that demands silence. Here's the twist. That riot of color belongs only to the males. The females, soft green and gold. Quiet grace to his loud glory. But she's the one who chooses the song she likes best. So yes, even in nature, charisma alone isn't enough. You've got to back it up with rhythm. Fun fact, the painted bunting is secretive. It hides in brush and thickets, singing from cover like a shy celebrity who loves attention but hates cameras. And just when you think you've lost it, there's that flash of color again, gone as quickly as a dream. Their name fits their nature, painted, because each generation repaints the landscape with life. Their migration stretches from Texas to the Caribbean. Tiny bursts of color crossing entire continents just to find warmth and song. But in Texas, they're more than visitors. They're reminders that beauty isn't rare, it's fleeting. It appears, dazzles, and disappears, daring you to appreciate it before it's gone. So here's the question. If something this stunning only stays for a season, would you still chase it, knowing it'll leave? Because the painted bunting doesn't promise forever. It just proves that momentary magic can still be worth the wait. And sometimes the sky's most beautiful rainbow is the one that sings back. You think elegance needs stillness? Watch a scissor-tailed flycatcher and think again. It's not just a bird, it's choreography with feathers, a pale silver body, salmon pink flanks, and that spectacular tail. Two long streamers that slice the air like twin blades of silk. When it dives or twists midair, the tail opens like scissors, steering it with impossible precision. Every flight feels rehearsed, yet completely wild. Out over the Texas plains, this bird turns the sky into a stage. It hovers, lunges, loops, and spins, chasing insects like a fighter pilot in a ballet. Even its landings look deliberate, graceful, and smug, as if it knows every camera's watching. Here's the twist. This beauty isn't fragile. The scissor-tailed flycatcher is a hunter. It waits on a wire, tail flicking in rhythm, then launches forward to snatch its prey midair with surgical accuracy. One strike, one meal, back to pose, all in a single heartbeat. Fun fact, during breeding season, males perform full aerial displays for the females, looping, diving, twisting, showing off their tails like banners of courage. And she watches quietly, choosing the one who flies with both strength and grace. Because in nature, beauty means nothing without skill. Their nests are built in open fields and ranchlands, the heart of Texas country, where the wind has room to play. You'll see them perched on fences, on barbed wire, even on power lines, turning ordinary Texas views into cinematic scenes. But the real magic? When the sun sets and that tail catches the last streak of orange light, the bird almost disappears. Not into darkness, but into color itself. It becomes the horizon. So here's the question. If the sky gave you wings, would you dance or just drift? Because the scissor-tailed flycatcher doesn't just fly, it performs. And in that glowing Texas dusk, it reminds us that freedom isn't the absence of limits. It's the art of moving beautifully within them. You think joy can't fly? Then you've never watched a barn swallow carve joy into the wind. Glossy midnight blue back, cinnamon belly, and that signature forked tail, like a smile that learned how to soar. These birds don't fly, they dance, looping, diving, weaving through invisible patterns like living brushstrokes of summer air. Every movement looks effortless, but it's pure precision. You'll see them skimming low over ponds and fields, chasing mosquitoes and gnats with stunt flyer accuracy. No net, no plan, just instinct and elegance. And when the light hits their wings, they shimmer like they've stolen the sky's reflection. Here's the twist. They're social, loyal, and brave. They return to the same barn rafters year after year, crossing entire continents just to rebuild the same nest. And not just any nest, a sculpted bowl of mud and straw, handcrafted under the eaves of our human world. Our homes become their airports, our spaces, their sanctuaries. Fun fact, barn swallows migrate thousands of miles, from Texas all the way to South America, and back again every spring. Same partners, same nesting spots, same blue flash over the same field. Consistency written in wings. When they gather at dusk, hundreds swirl together in one hypnotic, synchronized storm, swooping low, rising high, like thoughts chasing freedom. It's one of nature's purest performances, no script, no sound, just rhythm. But beneath all that energy lies faith. Faith that the air will hold them. Faith that home will still be there when they return. Maybe that's what keeps them fearless. So here's the question. Would you still chase your dreams if the road home was 1,000 miles of sky? Because the barn swallow does. Every year, every season, every sunrise, it's the heartbeat of summer. Proof that even the smallest wings can hold the biggest promises. You think fishing is peaceful? Clearly, you've never met the belted kingfisher. It doesn't wait quietly with patience and bait. It hunts like it's auditioning for an action movie. Perched high on a branch above a river, crest flared like a mohawk, it scans the water below. Unblinking, focused, confident. Then suddenly, boom! It dives headfirst, wings tucked tight, hitting the surface with a splash so clean it barely ripples. A moment later, it bursts back out, shaking water off its feathers and holding a wriggling fish like a trophy. That's not luck. That's precision. The belted kingfisher is built for the job. Its beak is long and dagger sharp, its eyes perfectly adapted to see through reflection and glare. It even has a special membrane that covers its eyes mid-dive, nature's version of swim goggles. This bird doesn't just fish, it dominates. Here's the twist. In this species, the female wears the flashier outfit with a rust-colored belt across her chest that the male lacks. It's a rare case where the lady's got more flair, and she knows it. So yes, even the rivers of Texas have their queens. Fun fact, kingfishers dig their nests into dirt banks, tunneling up to 8 feet deep with their beaks. Inside that chamber, they raise chicks surrounded by the faint smell of fish. A nursery built on courage and appetite. You'll hear them before you see them. A sharp rattle, 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 echoing down the river like laughter that dares you to follow. They're loud, proud, and untamed, the sound of confidence with wings. But here's the thing, kingfishers can't live without clean water. Every polluted stream, every dammed up flow, silences another one of those wild river laughs. And Texas rivers without that rattle? That's a silence the wild doesn't deserve. So here's the question. Do you wait quietly for your chance? Or dive headfirst for it, even if it means getting soaked? Because the belted kingfisher never hesitates. It dives, it splashes, it wins, and it laughs the whole way home. You think the woods are quiet? Not when the red-shouldered hawk is on patrol. Its cry, a sharp, echoing ki-ya, cuts through the trees like thunder. It's not just sound, it's statement. This is its forest, its sky, its law. Broad wings streaked with red and white, glowing shoulders like embers under sunlight. This hawk looks like fire learned how to fly. It perches high on a cypress limb, motionless, eyes scanning every branch and shadow. Then in a heartbeat, it drops. One smooth dive, one flash of talons, and silence returns. The forest breathes again, one heartbeat late. Here's the twist. This hawk isn't a loner. Males and females share territory year-round, hunting, nesting, and defending their trees together. They return to the same nest season after season, rebuilding layer by layer until the structure is a fortress of memory. Loyalty, not luck, keeps them alive. Fun fact, red-shouldered hawks often mimic the calls of blue jays. Yes, to trick smaller birds into revealing themselves. That's right, even their intelligence has teeth. In Texas, you'll find them from the piney woods to the river bottoms, wherever trees meet open ground. They're the bridge between silence and violence, guardians balancing grace and ferocity. And like so many Texas icons, they don't just protect, they represent. The courage to stand your ground, the patience to wait, the precision to strike when it matters. But their forests are shrinking, clear-cut, burned, or paved. Each lost tree is one less perch for the flame that once guarded the woods. So here's the question. If defending what you love meant standing alone, would you still raise your voice? Because the red-shouldered hawk does. Every cry is a promise. Every dive, a declaration. And when that red shimmer flashes through the Texas canopy, it's more than a bird. It's the wild itself saying, I'm still here. You think freedom has no sound? Then you've never heard the scream of a red-tailed hawk echo over a Texas plain. That wild, piercing call, the one you hear in every Western movie, doesn't belong to an eagle. It belongs to this bird. Hollywood borrowed its voice because nothing else sounds so purely untamed. High above the pastures and highways, the red-tailed hawk circles, broad wings spread, tail glowing like a flag of fire. It doesn't flap, it glides, effortless, steady, watching everything below like a sheriff on patrol. Its eyes can spot a mouse from over 100 feet in the air, but it never rushes the hunt. It waits for the right wind, the right moment, then drops like gravity itself forgot to warn the ground. Here's the twist. The red-tailed hawk isn't a nomad, it's a neighbor. It builds its nest high in oaks, pines, or even on telephone poles, right beside the roads we drive every day. You've passed one without realizing it, because wildness doesn't always live far away. Sometimes it lives right above your commute. Fun fact, red-tailed hawks mate for life. Their courtship is pure cinema, soaring together in spirals, locking talons, and tumbling through the air before separating at the last second. That's not just love, that's trust written in freefall. From desert canyons to coastal plains, they rule the Texas sky. And every time their cry splits the air, it reminds you of something ancient. A sound older than fences, older than cities, older than us. So here's the question. If freedom had wings, would it sound like this? Because the red-tailed hawk doesn't chase applause. It rides the wind, quiet, fearless, eternal. And when the sun hits that red tail just right, it's not just light you're seeing, it's the lone star sky itself catching fire. You think the night belongs to silence? Tell that to the great horned owl, the true sheriff after sundown. When the sun falls and the wind cools, this owl rises, a shadow with horns, floating on air that barely stirs. It doesn't fly, it glides, effortless, eternal, watching. Those tufts on its head, not ears, not horns, are signals, expressions, raised high when alert, flattened when calm. Even in stillness, it speaks the language of authority. Its call, hoo, rolls through Texas canyons, across ranch lands through the pines. It's not loud, but it carries. A sound that says, I've seen this all before. Here's the twist. This owl is everywhere. Deserts, cities, mountains, suburbs. It doesn't just survive, it adapts. Abandoned barns, saguaro cactus hollows, even backyard trees become royal chambers. Because kings don't need castles, just control. Fun fact, the great horned owl's grip strength can crush bone. 300 pounds of pressure in each talon. Yet those same claws gently cradle their chicks. Power without cruelty. Dominion with tenderness. They eat what the night gives. Rabbits, snakes, skunks, even other owls. If it moves, it's fair game. But it's never chaos. It's order. Silent, exact, inevitable. And when they lock eyes with you, golden, unblinking, ancient, it feels like time itself is being measured. Because this owl doesn't see you as threat or curiosity. It sees you as momentary. So here's the question. Would you rather rule quietly or shout into the dark and hope someone listens? Because the great horned owl doesn't shout. It reigns. Its wings write the laws of the night. Its call seals them. And under that Texas moon, when the wind stills and everything holds its breath, the world belongs once more to the one who never needed light to see. You think the world goes quiet before rain? Listen closer. Somewhere in the stillness, a soft, hollow cuckoo begins. Low, rhythmic, like a heartbeat under thunder. That's the yellow-billed cuckoo, the ghost singer of Texas heat. It doesn't shout its beauty, it whispers it. Hidden deep in leafy cottonwoods or along slow rivers, you'll never see it until the sky darkens. It's the bird that announces rain, the unseen conductor of summer symphony. Sleek body, warm brown back, white belly, and a bright yellow lower bill that glows like lightning caught in miniature. It's subtle, but unforgettable once found. It moves through branches like smoke, calm, patient, quiet. Here's the twist. The yellow-billed cuckoo is one of the few birds that seems to predict storms. It sings most often right before rain, sometimes hours before a drop falls. Farmers used to call it the rain crow, a weather prophet wrapped in feathers. Maybe it doesn't know the forecast. Maybe it feels it. Fun fact, when food is plentiful, cuckoos breed at lightning speed. Their eggs hatch in as little as 11 days, one of the fastest in the bird world. In Texas, where storms come fast and vanish faster, they've learned to match the rhythm of the sky, but their numbers have fallen. As rivers dry and forests thin, so do the songs. Each lost tree silences a small piece of thunder's prelude. And yet, when you stand outside just before the rain, when the air grows thick, the cicadas hush, and the clouds begin to pulse, that soft, strange cuckoo might rise again, a reminder that nature still speaks in whispers before it roars. So here's the question. If you could feel the storm coming, would you hide or sing louder? Because the yellow-billed cuckoo doesn't fear the rain, it calls it. And in that first drop hitting Texas soil, you can almost hear the echo, a voice that knew the sky long before we did. You think intelligence needs size? The black-capped chickadee would like a word, or better yet, a song. Barely heavier than a nickel, this little bird commands attention with a voice that says everything it needs to. Chickadee-dee-dee. That's not random noise, or it's language. More D's mean more danger. Less means all clear. It's communication, compressed into melody. Round body, soft gray wings, black cap like a scholar's hood. This is the forest's smallest philosopher. It flits from branch to branch with the focus of a detective, studying every bark and twig, memorizing where it hides each seed. Here's the twist. It doesn't just remember a few, it remembers thousands. And every winter, its brain literally grows larger to handle the load. When spring returns and the pressure eases, it shrinks back again. Imagine if your mind expanded every time life got tough. That's the chickadee's secret superpower. Fun fact, these birds recognize individual human faces and remember kindness. Feed one, and it'll greet you for months. Scare one, and it'll gossip about you to its friends. That's social intelligence at its best. But beyond the science, there's something deeper, a kind of calm courage. While most birds flee at the first frost, the chickadee stays through the Texas winter. It faces cold mornings with energy and song, bouncing through the frozen branches like optimism in motion. Watch one for a while, and you'll see why it's a favorite of bird watchers. Small, fearless, endlessly curious. It doesn't hoard power or speed. It survives by learning, remembering, and adapting, qualities more human than most humans care to admit. So here's the question. If this tiny bird can outthink a winter storm, what's your excuse? Because the black-capped chickadee doesn't chase strength or size. It builds its own wisdom, one seed at a time. And maybe that's the quiet lesson hidden in every Texas forest, that survival isn't about being the biggest voice in the room, just the smartest one that never stops singing. You think confidence is a human thing? Then you've never met a blue jay. Bright cobalt wings, black necklace, and that punky crest raised like it's ready to argue. This bird doesn't ask for space. It takes it. And once it starts talking, you'd better listen. The blue jay isn't just loud, it's strategic. It mimics hawks to scare smaller birds away from feeders. It uses alarm calls to rally the forest when danger's near. It gossips, complains, celebrates, and sometimes just talks for the fun of hearing itself talk. It's the feathered embodiment of main character energy. Here's the twist. Behind that attitude is genius. Blue jays are among the smartest birds in North America. They use tools, plan ahead, and even plant forests, literally. By burying acorns for later and forgetting some, they accidentally grow new oak trees across Texas woodlands. Nature's noisiest gardener. Fun fact, those dazzling blue feathers, they're not actually blue. They contain no pigment at all. It's an illusion created by light scattering through microscopic structures. If you hold one up to the sun, it turns brown. Even their color is confidence made visible. Social, loyal, fiercely protective. Blue jays travel in tight family flocks, warning each other and working together to defend their nests. When a predator shows up, the whole group mobs it, fearless, united, and loud enough to scare off hawks. Call it teamwork with volume, but here's what makes them unforgettable. They're mirrors. Watch a blue jay long enough, and you'll see bits of yourself. Clever, stubborn, vocal, sometimes too proud for your own good. They're not perfect, they're real. So here's the question. If your voice could echo through the trees, would you use it to make noise or make change? Because the blue jay does both. It doesn't whisper wisdom, it shouts it. And under the Texas sky, that flash of blue isn't arrogance. It's proof that boldness, when it's honest, can be beautiful. You think elegance can't fall from the sky? Then you've never seen a brown pelican hunt. High above the Texas Gulf, it glides with slow, steady beats. Wings like sails, eyes locked on the rolling blue below. Then, suddenly, drop. It folds into an arrow, plummets straight down, and hits the water like a thunderclap. One heartbeat later, it rises again, pouch full, triumphant. That's not chaos, that's choreography. Brown pelicans are the heavyweights of grace. Massive wingspans, long beaks, and that unmistakable throat pouch that can hold 3 gallons of water. And yet, for all their size, they move with the calm of creatures that know exactly who they are. Here's the twist. They weren't always this common. In the 1960s, pesticides nearly wiped them out. The same chemical that poisoned fish thinned their eggshells, and nests shattered before chicks could hatch. By the 1970s, they had vanished from Texas beaches. But Texans and nature don't give up easy. When DDT was banned and restoration began, the pelicans came back. Slowly, year by year, dive by dive. Today, their return is one of the great conservation success stories of the Gulf. Fun fact, brown pelicans don't just dive for food, they dive in formation. Groups of them skim the waves in perfect rhythm, wings inches above the water, like a slow-motion dance of survival and trust. It's teamwork disguised as art. Watch them at sunset, gliding past the orange horizon, and you'll understand something simple and sacred. Power doesn't have to shout. It can just exist. Steady, silent, strong. So here's the question. When the tide turns against you, do you panic or rise again, dripping but undefeated? Because the brown pelican doesn't fear the fall. It masters it. Every dive is a risk, every rise a resurrection. And in the end, that's not just flight, it's faith with feathers. You think stillness means nothing's happening? Then watch a great egret move. It steps through the shallows like it's walking on glass. Every motion deliberate, every pause a meditation. Feathers pure white, neck curved like a question mark. It doesn't rush the world. It lets the world rush around it. When the light hits just right, the egret doesn't reflect it. It becomes it. A white flame hovering above the marsh, silent and untouchable. But don't mistake grace for weakness. The great egret is a hunter, and a ruthless one. That delicate frame hides the precision of a predator. It stands motionless for minutes, waiting for a ripple, then strikes like lightning. One snap, one fish, one perfect kill. Here's the twist. This beauty almost disappeared. In the late 1800s, hunters slaughtered egrets by the thousands for their long, lacy feathers, prized in fashion for women's hats. They were elegant, yes, until the elegance cost everything. It was the egret's near extinction that inspired the very first wildlife protection laws in America. Beauty, it turns out, can start revolutions. Fun fact, during breeding season, egrets grow long, delicate plumes called egrets. In the soft Texas sun, they shimmer like white fire, the same feathers that nearly doomed them, now symbols of survival. You'll find them along the Gulf Coast and in quiet inland ponds, standing alone like living statues. No noise, no chase, just mastery of patience. And that's the secret of the great egret. It doesn't hurry because it doesn't have to. It's proof that power can whisper, that strength can look like silence. So here's the question. When was the last time you slowed down long enough to be magnificent? Because the great egret never rushes, it waits, it glows, and in the still water of a Texas marsh, surrounded by the hum of life, it reminds us that sometimes doing nothing is the most graceful act of all. You think silence fills the empty plains? Then you've never heard the western meadowlark sing. That flute-like melody drifts across Texas grasslands like sunlight turned to sound. Bright, clear, and impossibly pure. It doesn't just echo through the fields, it defines them. Because a Texas morning without a meadowlark song isn't quiet, it's incomplete. Gold breast with a black V like a Medal of Honor, spotted wings, and calm brown eyes that seem to know more than they tell. This bird isn't flashy, it's steady. The kind of beauty you don't notice right away until it's gone, and then you miss it like family. Perched on a fence post or swaying grass stem, it sings to the sky. A sound both wild and welcoming. Every note seems to say, "You're home now." Here's the twist. The western meadowlark is actually a master of illusion. Its song feels everywhere, but its ventriloquist skill makes it hard to pinpoint. The voice seems to come from all directions at once. It's the prairie's magician. Fun fact, settlers once called it the Lark of the West, believing its melody could calm storms and bless travelers. Even today, many ranchers say the first meadowlark of spring means good luck for the season. Hope with feathers, quite literally. But their wide-open homes are shrinking. Prairies turn to pavement, and the music fades. Still, every sunrise, a few voices keep singing, a stubborn hymn to what the land used to be. And maybe that's the heart of it. The western meadowlark doesn't sing for applause. It sings from memory, for belonging, for the wide, honest beauty of space and sky. So here's the question. If the world gave you endless horizon, would you fill it with silence or song? Because the western meadowlark never stops. It sings because the land deserves music. And as long as Texas still has wind and grass and golden light, the prairies will keep their voice and their heart. You think dawn is just light? The American robin knows better. To it, morning is a song, and it sings the sun into the sky. You've heard that voice before. You just might not have realized it. That clear, cheerful, cheer up, cheerily, cheer up, echoing across Texas lawns, farms, and parks. That's the soundtrack of sunrise. The robin doesn't wait for the world to wake up. It starts it. Rust orange breast, gray back, and bright eyes that catch the first rays of gold. It's not the flashiest bird, but it's the most familiar face in the dawn chorus. And somehow that makes it magic. Because in a world obsessed with rarity, the robin proves that the common can still be extraordinary. Here's the twist. Robins don't just sing at sunrise, they're weather prophets. Old-timers say, when a robin sings before rain, the storm will pass quickly. Maybe it's not science, but it's faith wrapped in feathers. Fun fact, robins are master architects. They weave mud and grass into nests so perfectly shaped they've inspired design studies. And every spring they build again. Not because they have to, but because renewal is the point. In Texas, they're travelers, moving south in waves, painting backyards and fields with movement. They remind us that migration isn't escape, it's rhythm. It's returning when the world calls you home. And maybe that's why their song feels so human. It's not loud, not showy, just consistent. Hope repeated daily until it becomes tradition. So here's the question. When your morning comes, do you greet it or sleep through it? Because the American robin doesn't take dawn for granted. It sings before the light, trusting the sun will keep its promise. And maybe that's what we all need. A reason to sing in the dark, and the courage to believe that morning always comes back to Texas. You think the day ends when the sun goes down? The mourning dove knows better. It's the one who sings the evening into being. That soft, trembling coo-oo-oo-oo drifts across Texas porches, ranch fences, and open fields. Not loud, not urgent, just steady. It's the sound of the world exhaling, a hymn for peace wrapped in feathers the color of dusk. Pale gray body, black spots on its wings, eyes rimmed with soft blue. The mourning dove looks like twilight shaped into a bird. It doesn't dazzle, it soothes. And somehow, that calm feels more powerful than any roar. Here's the twist. Despite its gentle voice, the mourning dove is one of the most resilient birds in North America. It thrives in deserts, cities, and farmlands alike. It adapts quietly, never demanding space, just finding it. Even its flight is poetry, fast, direct, with a soft whistle of wings that sounds like breath made visible. Fun fact, mourning doves mate for life. They build their fragile nests side by side, raising brood after brood, season after season. And when one partner dies, the other often lingers, still calling into the empty air as if love could echo back. That sound, the half grief, half gratitude, is what gives the bird its name. But maybe mourning isn't sadness. Maybe it's remembering, a reminder that peace and loss, beauty and sorrow, always live side by side. Watch one perched on a wire at sunset, silhouette glowing against the orange horizon, and you'll feel it. Stillness doesn't mean the story's over. It means the story finally found its rest. So here's the question. When your day fades into silence, what song will you leave behind? Because the mourning dove already knows. It doesn't chase noise or glory. It just sings softly into the fading light. The last voice of the Texas sky, and the quiet proof that peace still has a sound. So, Is Texas home to the most beautiful birds in America? Maybe, but not because they're rare, because they're real. From the red flame of the cardinal to the whisper of the mourning dove, from the hawk's cry to the wren's laughter, every wing tells the same story. This land doesn't just make birds, it makes characters, bold, loyal, stubborn, graceful, all with that unmistakable Texas attitude. They live in our barns, our cities, our rivers, our silence. They rise with us, rest with us, and somehow they always return, as if the sky itself remembers who it belongs to. Beauty here isn't just color or song, it's resilience. It's the way life keeps finding room to fly, even when the world feels too heavy. So maybe the answer was never really a question, because if you've ever heard a dove at dusk or a meadowlark at dawn, you already know. Texas doesn't just have beautiful birds, it is one.